We got us a corpse and cartridge occasion.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk to you guys about Season 3, Tekken 8, EVO, and what's coming further in the future. First up, we'll start with this new collab that Tekken 8 has announced a couple of days ago. It says, "Get ready, fighters. New official merch is now available worldwide, featuring characters from Tekken 7 and Tekken 8. NEOVISION has worked closely with Tekken team over the past years to bring the collection to life." Now, these t-shirts look absolutely fire, but what's on the t-shirts is not fire. It's once again just Tekken 8 PNG logo slapped on the front of it and on the back of it. And this has kind of caused an uproar because people kind of don't like it. Some of these character PNGs, the character renders, aren't even that cool to look at. But then you put it on a t-shirt. I mean, who's going to go around wearing this? The God of Destruction logo? This conversation went so big, so viral. A lot of people was really going in there giving true, feedback. And whenever a conversation gets really big like that, you have these stories on Twitter that's created as a result of it. And it says Tekken fans split on NEOVISION streetwear collab. It talks about in here fans push for creative twists like artist collabs, lore, slogans, and female character gear. Tekken has so many iconic quotes, so many iconic characters, so many artists who works officially with the game and unofficially. So just to use the same character renders every single time and put Tekken 8, I mean, who would want to buy that realistically? And when I seen this conversation going on, I tried to bring attention to how what made the Nike shoes successful was the designers' focus on subtlety and beauty. Using character renders and logos is cheap and easy, but it's not fashionable. The Nike designer, when he was presenting the shoe, this is the idea he spoke of.
It's super subtle. Again, I didn't want to make like a shoe that's in your face. I just didn't want to throw Tekken on it. I was carefully thinking it's subtle, it's beautiful. It's if you know, you know, right? It's like that Easter egg. Try and design something different, subtle, that so you could wear inside the game and that we could wear in real life.
Now, with that aside, we have Season 3. Week 4 of Season 3 Tekken Anniversary will be ending in, about time you see this video, 1 day. For those of you who are not aware what this is, the Tekken developers have been giving out free character art. All you have to do is go to the store and you get it for free. It is there for a limited amount of time. There's been a couple of times where I think I missed it or almost missed it. So before this expires in about 1 day, go and get it. Next week, they'll have a new lineup of other characters that will be available, so you guys grab that as well. Now, the next week after that will basically be the official start of Season 3. Less than 10 days away, it will include a major balance patch. The developers talked a little bit about it in a dev post. They released it about probably a week and a half ago. They were talking about how they won't go all the way back to basics, but they do want to try to address some things, evasion, defense, etc. We saw them adjusting heat smashes and installs. They said there will be more character focused stuff, so hopefully they do hit a lot of the characters who are just getting really wild. One tweet that I thought was really funny was this tweet from Rankchu, where he says Season 1 Dragunov, Nina, Jin were able to win because it was 80% player skill and 20% character strength. In Season 2, Brian and Anna players were able to mainly win due to 85% player skill and 15% character strength. Kuma in Season 1 and Asuka in Season 2, her wins were 80% character strength, 19% luck, and only 1% player skill. This is kind of what I feel as well about certain characters where like the player isn't really demonstrating any skill, any knowledge. They're just flow charting some buttons, and that order, that combination of buttons is so undefeatable to where most players collapse under the pressure of it. And I would love to see the developers cut back on that a little bit so that skill and at least knowledge of the game can prevail over people who have none. Also, what will be happening at that same time is rank reset. Everyone who's GOD will go back to Tekken King. I'm assuming everyone who's Tekken King will go back to beginning of blue, and then beginning of blue will probably go back to red, etc. At the same time, they will be adding some changes to the rank structure, the rank system. Another thing is a new battle pass. There's been a lot of push from the players to get the battle pass themed around other games like Dark Souls, Soul Calibur, Dragon Ball Z, or even like an Elden Ring. Also, it's important to note that the DLC characters will not release at the same time. Kunimitsu will be about a month later, Bob and Roger is a couple months later, and then the final character is like way in December. The reason they gave for doing it that way is that stagnating the releases helps them balance each thing individually. One thing that happened as well is Bandai Namco Holdings. This was officially announced a couple of days ago, but Nintendo acquired one of their studios, which is Bandai Namco Singapore, on April the 1st. This made waves because once again, you just have Bandai Namco kind of trying to restructure their company and move people around. You know, they've been having some ups, they've been having some downs, they've been having a lot of ups lately, but that kind of came at the cost of cutting a lot of games, trying to get a lot of developers out of there, like you see here with Nintendo, where those guys are going to work with them now. I just highlight this story because this is the looming threat if season 3 doesn't do well. Bandai Namco isn't very forgiving. They're very profit driven. So if the game doesn't perform well, they could pull it, or at least not allow for another one to be greenlit. EVO just recently was fully 100% purchased by Saudi, and as a result, they released their new plans. 10 EVOs a year is that plan. You have the original 3, which is Vegas, Europe, and Japan, but then now you have all of these other ones. There was a big conversation around this kind of like ruining what it means to be an EVO champion. I mean, you have some of the old EVO champions who won 4, and that was one EVO every year. 4 years straight, they were dominant. Now you can win 4 EVO. You can have one good year, let's say Tekken 8 Season 3 makes your character overpowered, and you dominate all year. You can have 10 EVOs under your belt. But regardless of that conversation, I think it is good that more people can participate and get involved, and EVO's becoming more of a spectator sport. I just wish on the other side of it that this means that the prices become a little bit more fair, a little bit more reasonable. I know they were charging $400 a ticket. That has to stop. But regardless, we'll see what happens when this actually shows up. Arsenal Ash says on Twitter, I know there's been a lot of talk about EVO recently. For me, EVO's always been something special. It's the stage every fighting game player dream about. I also think it's great to see new regions getting their own EVO moments and communities growing around the world. In another tweet, Arsenal says this: the difference in strong players isn't talent, it's structure. Regions grow when players compete regularly at home. The consistent environment creates championships. For Tekken 8 Season 3, it would be amazing if Japan Tekken community could build something similar together. Regular competition where everyone can grow. And then he tags Tekken. The reason why I think this is interesting, because one person who was really working on something like this was Spaghetti Rip. Before season 2 kind of went the way that it did, and also before he was removed from the commentary staff, he was setting up some of these major events. US versus EU. He played a big role in Pakistan's rise and Korea versus Pakistan rivalry. Also, you could talk about how difficult it is for US players to get sponsors. There's a lot of regions that are dealing with their own individual problem, and I would like to see Tekken or Bandai Namco step up to bring a lot of this stuff together. EU has their own tournament circuit. Korea has their tournament circuit. Pakistan and other regions like Pakistan, it's very difficult for those guys to travel around. How about you create them a circuit? How about you create a circuit to highlight US players? You have a lot of US players retiring every day, it feels like. It would be in Tekken's best interest to set up something like this, especially in the off time of Tekken World Tour. When the Tekken World Tour stops for like 5-6 months, why don't they have circuits all over the world for each separate region? That would fill in the gap, and it would keep the conversation and the competition alive. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and bye-bye.